Hello and welcome to the Mss Francois show. How many times have I have to say it? MSS for multi-talented and super sexy. I know I look a little extra business-like today, but you all like it, right? Yeah, always on point. So today, oh my God, today you're gonna love me after I introduce this person, okay? Her name is Jodi Harrison-Bauer. I said that right, Jodi?
You did.
Jodi, she inspires women to be fierce and fearless at any age. Let me tell you, this girl is a two-time bikini champion. She's the owner of Jodifit Boutique and Studio Fitness. You hear that? And the host of Fearlessly Authentic. Now, what I like about that little mini bio thing is it's not full of fluff. It's actually stuff you have to get up and do. You have to be on the podcast. You have to be exercising. I don't know what's wrong with her. She obviously on drugs or something. But anyway, Jodi, welcome to the Mss Francois show.
Thank you, my dear. Thank you so much for having me. I'm feeling very fearless by being here, so thank you.
The first thing I want to get straight to the point, since you teach people to be fierce and fearless at any age, how old are you, Jodi?
I am 60 and I'm going to be 61 on December 27th.
So let me tell you something.
Yes.
Jodi is obviously half black because we all know black don't crack. So obviously her mother and father ain't tell us something because you know the white people, they be cuddling up a little. I don't know. You all know it's the truth. Don't be acting up. So now that I know me and Jodi is related.
Yes, we are. I hope so.
But with that said, right? When people hear 60, people like to make up a bunch of excuses. Oh, she must even have no kids. She ain't got no life. She ain't doing nothing. She must have a trainer. So first thing, she has 2 grown daughters, okay? And it came out her vagina. So she didn't even have a C-section, okay? And she looks amazing. Don't worry, I'll show you all videos later. So one thing, and she has a husband. Oh my God, and he fine, okay? If you want a mistress, just tell him I'm available. You never know. People doing a bunch of things these days.
I
But
will tell him.
for you to be so fit, so fearless, does this run in your family? Does your husband, is he fit? Is your kids fit? Are they all into this fitness stuff?
So my husband is fit. So finding a partner that respects their body and wants to take care of their body is very important to me. So my ex-husband was in great shape, but he was working all the time, but he was in great shape. He just had great metabolism and, you know, he was fit. He was an athlete, blah, blah, blah. And my present husband, Frank, very fit and is all about health and fitness. And sometimes I think he eats more better than I do, even though I eat really, 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 really healthy 90% of the time. So he doesn't eat any sweets. He never has a sweet tooth. And I get a sweet
But he
tooth
already
every
have
once in a
you. He
while.
don't need anything else, sweet
No,
Jodi.
no, that's right. You're so sweet. You're so sweet. And then my daughters, if I am totally honest, which I always am, my oldest one is super tiny. She weighs all of 85 pounds and is 4'11", and she's 32. Always has been tiny since the day she was born, played sports and just, she's got great muscle mass, but she doesn't work out. It's just her genetics. Right. And my little one, who's 28, fitness has always been a huge part of her life. Both girls played sports in high school. And then Lexi, my little one, she works out every single day. She, you know, does everything that I tell her to do and that she loves to do as well.
Okay, because I always find it hard if someone is like all into fitness and then the other people are eating hamburgers every day. That could cause like conflict sometimes.
I could never even date anybody. You know, when I was dating, I could never even be with anybody who didn't have that type of commitment, stamina, and consistency, whatever it is, but they needed to take good care of their mind and body. So if you're taking good care of your body, you usually have a pretty consistent and you know, strong mindset about health and fitness. That's important.
See you guys, and you all say I'm picky. When I say I don't want a guy with belly and sitting down eating all day, okay? I have standards just like Jodi does. Thank you.
Yes.
And most people, when they see you, the first thing they'll be like, okay, how is this possible? She's 60, she looks like that. Is there a secret? Is it the sex? What is she eating? What is she doing? So what is like one thing you would tell someone if you had to say it was a secret for you to even be this fit as you are at that age? What's your secret?
Honestly, it has to do with the fact that I've been working out for 40 years. You know, since I was in college, in high school, I started out as a dancer, then I became a cheerleader, then I rode crew, then I went back to dancing, and then after college, I started working out, was working out a little bit in college, obviously from rowing crew. And so I would say it's the muscle that I started building in my 20s and 30s that have kept me lean, because obesity runs in my family. My mom is morbidly obese. My sister is morbidly obese, and everybody on
Wow.
my mom's side of the family is morbidly obese. They've had diabetes. My mom had a stroke 7 years ago. My dad, I take after my dad. So it's 80% of what you eat, 10% of it is training, and 10% of it is genetics. So I won on the genetic side. I didn't get my mom's genes. My dad got my sister got my mom's genes, and my little sister and I are built similarly. So the people that don't get the genetic jackpot, you know, just have to work a little bit harder. But I would say that fitness has been my fountain of youth.
So basically, anybody who's watching this right now, turn the television off because they're like 80% of what I eat. And then what you said, 10%
10% is
is
your genetic
genetics,
makeup, and the other 10% is the training that you do. So
training.
the training is really important.
So they're like, oh, hell no. 80% of what I eat, I love McDonald's. Not me, but they do. So they're like, I don't like this Jodi already.
No,
And
don't say that. Don't say that. Just
they're
trying
like,
to
what?
teach.
But you see what you all gotta do, okay? People see someone like Jodi and they're like, oh, I want to do that. But not everybody can do that. You have to be willing to do some of the things she just mentioned, okay, people?
Yes.
And
Yes.
with that said, you said you've been doing exercise and fitness for over 40 years. Like, did you have any role models along the way that you looked up to when it comes to fitness?
Actually, I didn't. I didn't have one role model in my personal life. It was just something that was important to me. That's a really great question. Nobody's ever asked me that before. Yes, yes. No, I just think that it was something I needed to feel in my body. Again, I was a dancer, I was a cheerleader. I always took pride in feeling strong and healthy in my body. I didn't know that when I was in college, but I knew that, started realizing that later in life. But that was what drove me. Everybody, honestly, everybody in my life looked at me like I was crazy. What are you doing? Why do you have to go to the gym? You're thin, you're this, you're that. Because I never had a weight problem. My old fitness coach said to me, my competition coach said to me, hey, Harrison, like, do you have a fat picture of yourself or anything? Because we can use this to throw you into magazine. And I said, no, I don't. She's like, oh, forget it. You know, like, come on. But it's something I guess I've just always intuitively wanted to take care of myself. Maybe
When do you think most women start to feel so uncomfortable with their body? Is it a particular time? Is this is always something women always feel funny about? Because I love
I
my body.
I think I love that. And I love the confidence that I think most women start feeling uncomfortable with their body if they don't lose their weight after they have a child,
Mm.
and they don't want to put the lights on when they're having sex. They don't want to have sex. And I encourage my clients to, it's not about getting thin, skinny. I never say those words. It's about getting healthy, fit, strong, so you can feel fierce and fearless in your body. Because if you feel fit, fierce, fearless, you're going to want to take your clothes off, whether the lights are on or
I
not,
don't
right?
know.
So, but I think women feel comfortable after childbirth if they don't take off the weight, and then as they approach menopause and they are postmenopausal, because everything gets screwed up in your body after menopause. When you are perimenopausal, you start like getting hot flashes and you're like, what the heck is going on? You start getting a spare tire in your belly and you're like, what is going on? It's because you're
Hmm.
losing estrogen, testosterone, progesterone, everything that you got when you went through puberty, the breasts, the hair. All of a sudden, the breasts get saggy. You start losing. For me, I'm Jewish, so I'm hairy. I love the fact that I stopped getting hair. That was great. So I like shave maybe once a month now. It's fabulous. But that is the time in a woman's life that they feel the most uncomfortable. And you'll start seeing, if you look around a room and you see women over 55, you'll see that they're usually wearing oversized t-shirts or oversized
Mm,
shirts to cover their belly. That's where they gain the weight. It's a belly fat.
wow. Okay,
Yeah,
Lord,
it
please,
sucks.
I
It
don't
sucks.
have me.
It didn't happen to me. And I think it's because I was always very, very committed to fitness. But I try to help women, and they come to me and they say, well, how could I look like you? I'm like, it's not about looking like me. It's about being the best version of you. And I've been doing this for 40 years. When did you
Right.
start? And they'll say,
Last week.
now, yeah, last week. So it's but it's never too late to start, and that's what I try to teach everybody. It's never too late to start, but have the right kind of expectations, you know? It's about
Okay.
feeling good in your body.
And that's one thing, like when I was going through all the videos and all the things that I had to do to find out more about Jodi, I realized you seem to put a lot of personal development, like empowerment into, I guess, your training or what. So what it is that when someone meets you or you're coaching someone or you start with a client, is there certain things you try to tell them? I'm because of what I know of you, it doesn't seem like you're like, okay, pick up this dumbbell. It seemed like you talk to them. So what are you telling them to empower them to get them in the right mindset?
It's really the mindset. I have to empower them. I have to find out what makes them tick. What makes, when you're coaching anybody, you have to find out what's important to them. They'll first tell me, I want to lose weight because I'm going on vacation. I want to lose weight because I gained it with the baby, this and that. But really, what is your, what is the reason why? So once I get to dig deep and find out why they want to lose the weight or why they want to feel healthier, I can be a better coach. So it's getting their mindset. The women that don't want to shift their mindset and think that all they need to do is come and work out with me and lift heavy, they can't lift heavy if they're not eating the food I tell them. And they're not going to be able to lift heavy if they don't start losing some weight. And they're not going to have the intensity to do whatever I tell them to do if they're not fueling their body with the right food. So it's mindset first. And the ones that just come with me and just do the workouts and have no transformation in their body, it's because they didn't transform their mindset. And I'm like, there's the door. Bye-bye. Don't come back.
Okay, Jody just scared me. Okay, so I need to do. I'm about to eat some lettuce and do some push-ups because you see how she was like, and this. I don't know why they don't listen. Mindset or get out. But with that said, guess what, guys? We're going to take a short break. I'm going to show you one amazing video. I didn't mention anything but Sports Illustrated. But after you see this video, come on back and we'll tell you all about it.
Hi, my name is Jodi Harrison-Bauer, and I'm making this casting video for Sports Illustrated 2020 because I want to represent all the women who are tired of being boxed in by society. All our lives, we do what others expect us to do. I was in my 40s when I realized I wasn't standing in my truth or honoring myself. I represent all the women over 55 who think it's too late to start something new, because I'm here to tell you it's not. I started competing in fitness shows in my 40s. I won 2 world fitness shows at 49 when everybody told me I was too old. At 50, I opened Jodi Fit to empower other women to boldly step out of their box while getting strong, mind, body, and soul. I want to be in this swimsuit issue at 59 because no woman should ever be boxed in.
Welcome back to the Miss Francois show. I know you love that little video, right? It's the bikini, Miss Jodi looking all sexy. So did you know she's the oldest woman to try out for the Sports Illustrated
Swim.
magazine? Yes, the swimsuit is,
Swim
and
issue.
she swim issue, and she made it in the top 60 out of 5,000 people. Okay, and most of the women, they were what, half your age, Jodi?
There were 10,000 women, and
Shut up.
there were 10,000 women, and they were more than half my age. I was the oldest woman out of 10,000.
Isn't that crazy? Yo, make sure oh, that is so awesome. Like, I don't think even people could fully like really think about it and wrap your mind around that. How old were you when you did that? Was it 59?
58.
When 50?
It was
Guys,
July
women, what are you all
2018.
doing? Like this, to me, Jodi, you're like a role model for everybody, man and woman, okay?
Thank
Because
you.
just to be even brave enough to even do something like that. So for me, with that whole thing, like even showing the video, what was the best experience for that through that whole thing? What did you take away from that experience?
That I had the ability to make a global impact on women, and just not in my studio here in Connecticut, but that I had the ability and I was going to make an impact on women on a global level. That's what I took away from it. I didn't think, look, I've had a lot of successes and I've made impacts in other ways, but I didn't realize it until I saw the women, like how ballsy I was to do this. Like, I don't think about these things. I just do them because it feels like the right thing to do. And then I end up being the oldest, or everything I've done since I've been divorced for almost 20 years now is I was always the oldest one doing everything. So I just did what my gut told me, you just follow your gut, follow your heart
How
and your gut.
how how long were you married before
17
the first
years.
time? 17 years. Would you say, like you mentioned, since getting a divorce and like some of the things that you have accomplished after? So was it a positive, definitely a positive thing, you getting divorced? Did it just create a whole new shift for you?
It
What?
did, because when I was married, so I was a buyer for a major department store when I was working. When I had my daughter in '89, I stopped working. It was a decision we both made that I was going to be a stay-at-home mom. And after a year, I thought I was going to lose my mind. Don't get me
Mm-hmm.
wrong, you guys, I love having my daughters, but I needed to have an outlet for myself. So I knew when I was married and I wasn't allowed, he told me I wasn't allowed to compete in fitness shows. I wasn't allowed to get a boob job. I wasn't allowed to do this. I wasn't allowed to do that as long as I was his wife. So I thought, screw you. I'm going to get divorced and I'm going to show my daughters what a strong female role model I really am, because they don't know that side of their mother. So yes, it was a complete mindset. My daughters were like, whoa, who are you? We don't know this woman. My friends were like, who are you? We don't know you. And I thought, this is who I am, because I was living in a box that everybody wanted to put me in because that's where they felt comfortable being around me. And then I started getting judged. So I stayed in that box my whole marriage, came out of the box, then
And
the
they're like, who do
judgment
you
started
think
coming.
you are?
Yes, yes. Who do you think you are? You can't wear your dresses that short. You can't wear heels that high. You can't grow your hair that long. You can't get a boob job. You can't get on stage in a bikini.
Wow.
You can't.
And that just made, did that fuel you to keep going? Because most
Yes.
people would have just, shrivel up and either stay. Because honestly, a lot of women, if their husband tell them that, they would be upset, but they would just shrivel down and just be like, okay, you just did a whole 180, and it's like, okay, that's how you feel. That's nice. Anyway, goodbye.
Yes.
And
Yes.
and even with you experiencing all this from friends or family members, so that was one of my questions I was going to ask. Like with age discrimination, have you had that because of like some of the stuff that you do, or showing your body and all that stuff like that in the swimsuits? And how do you
So
handle that?
So when I was a trainer working at a big box gym and creating a big clientele and big following, and then I took them all and opened up my own studio. Yes, I did. I went to my quote unquote boss, who was then, I was 50, he was like 31. And he was trying to tell me what to do. I'm like, yeah, no, that doesn't work. So he said to me, hey, Jody, and I need to see you in my office. Go in his office. And he's like, hey, I know what you're up to. You're opening up your own studio. I said, yep, guilty, I am. And he said, who do you think is going to come and work and train with a 50-year-old woman? And I said, they'll come, they will. Goodbye.
Girl, that is some serious age. Just like that trumps, even if you had others, that trumps all of them, even if you
Yes, it
had others.
does. Yes, it
That's a
does.
blow. So now I'm even seeing you in a whole different light. Like you're one strong superwoman.
Thank
And I'm
you.
not even
Thank
kidding.
you. Thank you. I appreciate that. When I started competing in fitness shows, which was about 5 years after I got divorced, so I was 47, and I was my coach's oldest client, and my daughters were like 10 and 13 at the time, or something like that, or 9 and 13. And they were crying. They're like, mommy, don't do this. You're going to look like a man. You're going to get these big muscles. And I said, girls, your mom is not going to get big muscles. I'm going to be fine. And again, like I said, my friends, I ended up divorcing my two closest friends because they did not support me at all. So I literally
That's
had no
hard.
friends. I had no emotional support going into my competitions at all. Luckily, I had a great coach who I had on my show a few weeks ago. And at 49, I became a two-time consecutive world bikini champion. And I showed them, didn't I?
But do they ever come back and be like, hey, Jody, I just want to say,
I'll tell you something. My daughter got married 5 months after I got married in November of 2019. My ex-husband's friends with a lot of the people that I'm not friends with anymore. They were at my daughter's wedding. So they were at her bridal shower. And as they're all drinking their mimosas and all those other drinks they're drinking, they come over to me and they're like, you know what? We all thought you were crazy, the way you ate, counting your macronutrients. Nobody knew what a macronutrient was in the 90s. Nobody was talking about, I'll have some protein on that salad. I was doing that. I would go to order with all of our friends. They would be like, oh, okay, Jody's ordering. She said, we all thought you were crazy. A bunch of them said, we all thought you were crazy, but now we get it. So I was always ahead of my time. That was in the 90s. It is now, this was 2019. This was like almost 20 years, 18 years later that they finally said something to me. We thought you were crazy, but now we understand. I was just
but you know,
way ahead of my time.
but you know what I realized? Like I tell people nickname me crazy sometimes because some of the goals and dreams that I have seems like too much out of the box or whatever. But I always tell them, I say, Mozart, they said he was crazy. Like Einstein, they said he was crazy. A lot of these people that invented all the stuff that we even use now, they said they were crazy. So I'm like, when you call me crazy, I feel real good about it. You know, that
No,
just
you
means
just
we on the next level. That's how I see it. You mightn't see it now, but you're gonna see. So that's pretty
absolutely,
awesome.
absolutely. And you need to keep doing what you're doing because you are a bright light. I mean, like at the table where we were sitting, like you definitely were like one of the brightest lights there. For you didn't even have to speak. It's just, it's, you know what, it's an aura, right? It's an aura,
Yeah.
it's an energy, and your light attracts.
So if someone is deciding like no, like maybe I want to get fit or I'm thinking about it or considering, what is the number one thing you would tell that person they should do right now in order to move towards that?
If they want to change the way they feel in their body and they don't know how, find a trainer. Honestly, find a coach, find a trainer that can take you through that journey because it's really, really hard to figure
Mm,
out. There are a lot of kooks out there, so they can reach out to me. You can give my information. But find a trainer that is experienced. Don't find somebody that just got certified as a trainer. Find somebody who looks the way you want to look.
mm,
So that's important. Now, everybody is going through different transformations. So maybe there's a great trainer out there that's transforming his or her life with food and fitness. So if that's the person you relate to, then go to that person. But I always suggest go to the person who's been successful and who
right.
has experience.
Right. No, it's true because sometimes people saying, yeah, I can get you on like before when you do it here and stuff like that, sometimes you go in certain salons and you're like, your hair not done. Even if you're not doing it, let's just look the part. You know what I'm saying? That people will gravitate to you even more. Like just like people say, I want to look like you, Jody, even though they're supposed to look the best, but at least they're coming to you because they see you've done the work. You're the
Right.
evidence of it. So that's pretty awesome.
Exactly.
One thing, another question I wanted to ask. You're 60. So tell me something that definitely stand out that you could say at least one big lessons you would say you would tell yourself when you were in your 20s, 30s, 40s. Oh my God, that's a lot. Girl.
Stop. Stop.
Okay,
I know.
let's do
I
30.
know. When you have to insert your birthday and they have you rolling back, it's like 2021. And then you're like, scroll, 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 scroll. Like you just have to go back to the 80s. I got to go all the way back to 1960 for God's sake.
What do you think is say like one thing you would tell yourself when you were in your 20s, 30s, 40s, and 50s? That if you had to look back at those particular those decades.
So what would I tell my 20-year-old self?
Yeah.
I would tell my 20-year-old self to really be okay with being who you are. Stop trying to be somebody that you think you should be. that you're enough. Honestly, I know people say you're enough, you're enough. You hear that all the time. But I would tell my 20-year-old self, because I was very feisty. And
Yeah.
I think I tried a fight. I'm still feisty, but I was feisty in a way that wasn't truly authentic to me. I was trying to be somebody who is more confident. So I think I used my feistiness for then. In my 30s, I really liked who I was in my 30s. I don't think I would change anything. I would just say, don't let other people's judgment bother you, because I had my daughters at 28 and 32, which is what their ages are now. And I was always in the gym. I was in the gym for 2 to 3 hours every morning, 5 days a week, and eating really clean. And people criticized me for it and made me feel bad for taking care of myself. Now we call it self-care. Back then, people
Okay.
made me feel selfish.
Wow.
Okay. My friends and family made me feel that I was selfish. So what I would tell my 30-year-old self is, don't let other people's judgment bother you. My 40-year-old self, I would say, go out there and kick ass, which is what I did. My 50-year-old self would have said, Jodi, you should have gone on hormone replacement after you stopped getting your period and started going through menopause, because you could have gotten more sleep in your 50s, and you stayed in a toxic relationship too long. So I think in your 50s, I should have trusted my gut more and knew when to get out of a relationship when it wasn't serving me anymore. But I thought I could make it better. What I know now in my 60s is that you can't change who people are, and you need to accept them for who they are and move on if it's not serving you.
Wow. Now, that right there is basically the whole show. If you took nothing away from it, that what she just said to me that's like a map for our lives going forward, okay, people? So that was pretty awesome. So we basically come to the end. I'm sure we're over time. Gonna
No,
have
I
to
don't
make a
want it
fun.
to end. This
I
is
know,
so
right?
fun.
But make sure you tell people where they can find you, Jodi. Remember, she's taken, okay? So you're hitting her up for exercise, health, some health tips, some empowerment to be fierce and beautiful at any age, okay? So where can people find you, Jodi?
So I'm on Instagram a lot at Jodi Harrison-Bauer. You can find me on Facebook under the same name. You can find me on TikTok under the same name. And yeah, DM me. I look at my DMs. I respond to my DMs. Or you can email me, jody@jodifit.com, jodi@jodifit.com.
Awesome. I'm going to have all of that at the bottom of the screen because I'm that amazing. With that said, thank you guys for joining me. You know where you can find me, right? Just hit up my website, www.mssfrancois.com. That's MSS for multi-talented and super sexy. I'm on all social media. Unless you're really under a rock, you will find me. Okay, everyone have a wonderful evening and see you back pretty soon. Thank you, Jodi. Say
Thank you for
bye.
having me. Bye-bye, everybody.